In this video, I summarize and comment on the first video of the Netflix series What's Next? The Future with Bill Gates. The episode title is What Can AI Do to Us? Some of the comments I make reference material outside the Netflix video. Additional explanations are needed because there are some statements that can be easily overlooked that require more attention and others that should include more explanation. Links to the material referenced in this video can be found in the description. In general, the episode tries to provide a balance between the optimism of Bill Gates and the problems that are likely to occur if AI is not properly regulated. The What's Next series was released in 2024, so the information is anchored in 2023 with a general focus centered on OpenAI ChatGPT. In addition to Bill Gates, the main participants include Kevin Roose, president of OpenAI, Dr. Fei-Fei Li, co-director of the Stanford Institute for Human-Centered AI, Jeff Hancock, professor of communications at Stanford University, the filmmaker James Cameron, and 2 tech journalists. Early in the video, one reporter says, "I don't know what AI means either." Let's start here to define it. Artificial intelligence includes multiple techniques where a problem solution does not require explicit programming. For example, one set of techniques looks at data and cluster or classifies it. It can also try to predict a value. For example, if you have a set of values representing the weight of a vehicle and how many miles it achieves per gallon, the software can deduct a linear equation that would return the expected miles per gallon given a specified weight. All this based on the dataset representing weights and miles per gallon. AI also includes deep learning with neural networks, as we saw in previous video. AI is everywhere in our day-to-day lives, with one of the most obvious examples being recommendation engines, where, when you buy something, immediately suggest additional products that people that bought what you are buying also looked at or bought. With the ubiquity of AI being established in the video, they start throwing around multiple terms like unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, transformers, and so on. They also present an internet meme representing large language models like ChatGPT. It is worth spending a few minutes on this meme to explain generative AI. In the upper half of the meme, above the red line, we see that generative AI is an alien that exists through unsupervised learning. The neural network is fed a lot of content from the internet. This content is made up of sentences. The neural network starts with the first word and tries to predict the second one. Then it takes the first 2 words and tries to predict the third one, and so on and so forth. As it gets through the text, it adjusts its parameters to improve its predictions. This is what generative AI foundation models are about. They generate a prediction for the next word given a sequence of words provided as input. The danger here is that we don't know exactly what trains the intelligence, and this type of training continues to this day. There is an interesting article on TechCrunch from March 27, 2025 titled "Open Source Devs Are Fighting AI Crawlers with Cleverness and Vengeance." It talks about AI bots overwhelming open source sites to a point of causing outages. These sites have installed mechanisms to limit the damage and feed irrelevant information to bots. It was even suggested to provide a bucket load of articles on the benefits of drinking bleach or articles about positive effect of catching measles on performance in bed. All this to say, who knows what finally ends up in the large language model. The next step is to use supervised fine-tuning to give it a somewhat human feel. It is where high-quality information, presented as questions and answers, is fed into the model. The last step represented in the figure is reinforcement learning with human feedback, where people correct answers provided by the model to improve the answers. The last learning activity provides an additional polish of humanity. A chatbot like ChatGPT can provide some great answers, but can also provide misinformation with confidence. This is what is called AI hallucination. This is why we always have to be on our guards and be critical of what we get from large language models. They can be very useful, but we need to stay critical of the results and keep control. Next, the video covers the positive and the negative aspects of this technology. Bill Gates looks at it as a positive force that can particularly address the scarcity of educators and doctors. On the education side, the video shows an example of using AI as an essay creator tool. The students can improve their writing with suggestions from the AI instead of relying exclusively on feedback from their teacher. This can better answer the needs of the students while making the teacher more efficient while being more attentive to the students' needs. On the medical front, the main example is early cancer detection. AI may be better able to detect patterns of cancer than humans. It can go as far as bringing attention to areas that don't have cancer but end up developing it in the future. The example provided talks about a case where the AI was paying attention to an area 2 years before cancer was detected. As an aside, the International Magazine of Digital Dentistry of January 2025 talks about the scarcity of dentists in Hong Kong, where there are 3.7 dentists per 10,000 residents. Residents typically wait 12 to 18 months for routine checkups and up to 39 months for complex dental procedures. A new system called Gum AI is being tested to provide rapid oral checkups, analyzing tooth and gingival health in seconds. A study involving more than 500 participants reportedly showed greater than 90% accuracy. What are the negatives of AI? We saw the first clash in 2023 with the Hollywood writers' strike. They were fighting to protect their livelihood, but also their creative output that can be ingested in LLMs that can then mimic their intellectual products. There are also a lot of talks about white-collar jobs being replaced by AI. The article, AI and Automation, Threats and Opportunities for White-Collar Professionals states, technologies like ChatGPT and IBM Watson are poised to replace or augment many white-collar tasks. I lean more toward the augment than the replace part. At a minimum, this creates a lot of anger, fear, and anxiety. This also leads to the big question of who controls this technology and what are they allowed to do. Will we be exploited by those untouchable people who are in control of these technologies? The video makes the point that technology needs to be regulated before it becomes ubiquitous, before it is completely integrated in our day-to-day lives, because then it becomes accepted for good or ill. What will happen if or when we get to artificial superintelligence? Will human beings become obsolete? Bill Gates concludes the video with a positive attitude, talking about the increase of leisure time possibly coming at a cost of people's sense of purpose. If artificial intelligence becomes a reality, what will be humanity's purpose? It is easy for Bill Gates to think about increased leisure time as a good thing. For the majority of people, this is not the case. They are concerned instead about making a living. Having a life of leisure means no income for food or shelter. If society in general does not address this, it will lead to a dystopian future. Is this where we are headed? I think we have quite a ways to go, and there are roadblocks to the dystopian future. For one, in particular, the promising models of superintelligence using some sort of reasoning technology requires a huge amount of power. The article titled IEA, The Opportunities and Challenges of AI for Global Energy from April 2025 states that the AI data centers accounted for approximately 1.5% of global electricity consumption in 2024 and has grown by about 12% since 2017. Also, almost half of US data centers' capacity is concentrated in just 5 regional clusters, putting even more pressure on energy production. When does it become more cost-effective to use humans? Just like in the introduction of any new technology in the past, jobs will be lost and new ones will be created. People will imagine new ways to use AI that will create new opportunities and hopefully improve everyone's quality of life. The What's Next video is just the beginning of the conversation. We must stay engaged with AI and push for its regulation in an open and fair way that will benefit the world and not just a few. Let me know what you think about this video and its subject. I'll see you next time on Bite-Sized Data Science.